friends, welcome. It's Oath of Endosteel. This is Battletech Oath of Endosteel, Season 4, Episode 3, set in the year 3045. I have some notes. First off, it has been 1.5 months since our last episode, so we're all going to be a little rusty, on top of the fact that we've moved to a new character RPG system. Note number 2, Battletech Blades of Honor has launched, and if you are a member of Patreon, it is now available to you. If you are watching this episode right now on YouTube and you're not a Patreon member, that means Blades of Honor is also available on YouTube right now. It is a companion show set in the year 3045 in Valentina, which you may recall is just across the border, and occasionally we've done some war crimes over there. Radasaurus will be playing one of Yohei Genji's nephews, who he sold to a Karitan merchant princess for money, so that he could. Yep, it's a dirty little family secret.
I love it.
Keep that lifestyle rolling. Yeah. Still off
that's Session Zero was Pog. Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for watching, by the way, Eric. And I know you love the super Jenner, the rattlesnake.
Yeah, I like Jenners.
So does Rad.
Yeah. I think that we should have a good mix on this show, and so Eric will watch and be like tuned into everything. I will specifically not watch, so that if and when we ever have a crossover, I can be surprised by all of the developments of what's been going on in Valentina. You know, equivalent to maybe I'll try to like get some sort of news bulletins from Eric, so that it's like equivalent to like what I would hear on Whittington about like news that's going on. That.
People are already asking me to have Duke Dick appear on that show as well.
I saw that in the Discord. I was like,
technically,
God.
He does live there. He is a Yakuza who was tattooed with Irizumi over there. So, number 3, EricVulgaris recently launched a battle report. I don't know if it's public. I don't know if you can find it without going on. Oh, it's public now.
Yeah, it's on Vulgaris Tech.
It's so good that I have canceled Battletech Megamech Council because I can't even get close to what Eric has done. It's embarrassing. A year's worth of work, hours of recorded footage and scripts. I saw Eric's 6-minute long video and I was like, this is it. Throwing everything in the fire. If you can't get at this level, don't bother.
So what AP is really saying is, for all of you fans out there who are really looking forward to that piece of content, it's Eric's fault.
Yeah,
that's
true. That's what I heard.
In the comments.
Great. Getting death threats.
It was really good. All right. Note number 4 is that CGL is not asking people not to use the Battletech Reddit, but there is now a official Battletech Reddit called Official Battletech. It's hard to say how the future will unfold at this point. We seem to be at a critical mass, but it should be noted, Battletech CGL as a publisher released a official Pride Month anthology, and the Battletech Reddit repeatedly deleted it. And CGL went, that's unacceptable. And now we're here. Now CGL has put their foot down and says, there's now a Reddit and we support it. And the other Reddit, we're not telling you not to go there, but we're not going there.
Yeah.
So, hey, look.
Battletech drama.
I want to say this. There's a lot of companies that come out and are suddenly super prideful during Pride Month, and it feels super fake. I don't know the history of CGL, but I do know the history of Battletech. And that is, it was big for a few years. The video games carried it. And then somewhere after Mechwarrior 4, things got shaky for like 10 years. All right. And during those 10 years, Battletech was fully 100% carried on a palanquin made out of furry art. All right. Magistry of Canopus Simps, 100%. By buying character art, fully kept the entire hobby alive until the Kickstarter. So just know, even if CGL is not super Pride, Battletech itself lives lives and is out of the sarcophagus specifically because the pharaoh was kept alive with the blood and honey of the furries. So thanks for that, Magistry of Canopus people.
Wow. That was a little tidbit. I did not know.
not-
Yeah,
that.
I also
Not
was
even a
not
joke.
aware of that.
Did not know that was that's
Yeah.
that's a piece of internet
It
lore
may-
right there.
that
You were
may
talking
be
about
a-
memes, you know. You're
It
talking
may
about
be
memes.
a partial truth. There's a little exaggeration in there, but there's more truth in it than perhaps not. So let's analyze our current plot lines of the House of McDougall. We're looking for Kendrick Khan, who is the secret boyfriend of Angus McDougall, but Kendrick Khan and his family have been away, as is their wont. Maya Hiroka has entered into a agreement to show up to somebody's daddy's birthday, and in the process finalize a fiance contract to sell off her younger sister Carmen to Angus, fulfilling the need to unite those bloodlines, giving Angus a beard, letting Maya not have a beard so she can continue to do her disaster lesbian stuff, and removing Carmen as a threat to her. Athena is in a weird place. She's got to choose to either stand with her dad or stand with Jacobson. She has this fancy new science satellite that she rolled incredibly well to get, but it still comes with a price. She has to technically make an announcement on behalf of Jacobson for the scientific efforts being recognized through interstellar expeditions, which Jacobson has long been a supporter of. And in fact, Jacobson used Interstellar Expedition to aid this group's raid on Valentina back in the day. So he's got a long, long history with them. Angus also received the Black Knight of his father, the William Wallace, but he now is forced to make sure that his entire family, all of his siblings, pass the upcoming Mechwarrior trials. The failure of any one of them will be considered a failure in their father eyes for Angus. The birthday is planned, but the only guests are House Hiroka, so I don't even know if the other siblings are invited yet. Celeste has been told that she needs to deal with the Duchess's problem. Her big problem right now is a continued argument between Major Lucille Bordeaux of the Whittington Militia and her superior, Captain Cahu Moreau of the Draconis March Militia, who technically outranks her because she is regular military. And someone at some point needs to lock in the intercontinental business deals with the other continent that I made all these NPCs for, and then everyone has been too busy to scam or screw over or kill or corrupt in any way. We've only had one RP episode, but I just want to remind you that they exist and they're there. And Sam wanted to do something with the Pax Charlemagne people. I don't really remember what it was. I just have Sam and Pax Charlemagne written down here.
My house goal is getting Pax Charlemagne to officially declare for the Duchess.
Ah, yes, I see. Wise. A wise goal indeed. Well, friends, I believe that brings us to the present. Who would like to do what?
If no one else is going to jump out, I've got things and stuff to do.
Okay.
Wow. Well, I only got some stuff and things. So how about you take the lead here, Sam?
Okay, perfect. So first off, AP, what would I have to do to start working on my goal of completing the Kenneth Cross masterclass on being a Mechwarrior mercenary?
Let's open the rule book and see what kind of role we can make in that regard. I'm sure there's some sort of skill or role we can make. I mean, it's hard to say that you'll be able to complete it very quickly, right? You know, you don't just finish a college class overnight, but
absolutely,
you do have to start somewhere.
Yeah,
that's exactly my thinking.
Yeah. Do you want an idea? I don't know if there's how to do this as written, but I have an idea how to do it.
Sure.
Weirdly, do it kind of like on a faction attack, where you make a test of like tactics or something like that. And if you learned, you do a D8 damage against a set number of hit points of like the base points of the class and over X number of times.
Maybe. I think that I think this is a science roll for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally fine with me. I was gonna say that the two ways that I was thinking of tackling it is like basically is like the question is the challenge here actually doing like performing the necessary functions to complete the course, or is the challenge like getting somebody to pay for the course for Celeste? And it sounds like it's actually like it's
You've
not
got
a big
money.
deal to get it. So
Yeah. It's do you actually learn it? So which like right?
Sure. So my science is a -1.
What's your intelligence?
And that's good. That's good.
Yeah, no, that's fine. My intelligence is 0, so I'm just rolling with a -1.
Okay.
That's going to be a 5, which
Oh,
I
wait, that's
don't
not
think
good.
is going to be good enough.
No, not at all. It's very bad. Look,
You just got crossed.
I don't know. I feel like there's a number of different ways to play this off. Like either you're busy, you have trouble concentrating. This isn't a format that works well for you.
I think it's kind of like
A lack of focus.
yeah, I think it's like when anybody like buys that, course or class or like whether it's like
It's a problem with doing
buying,
online courses. Yeah.
right, buying the guitar and just like, you buy the guitar and the lessons and you never do the thing. You buy Duolingo because you're going to learn a new language. And like, sure enough, 6 months later, do you know any French? No.
You subscribe, you got the Peloton and you got the subscriptions.
Exactly.
Look, you subscribe
But your
to Babbel,
wattage is
but then
0.
Yeah,
Right.
you subscribe to Babbel, but then you only did it for 10 minutes a day, and it's like,
Yeah.
you expect him to get any progress?
Right.
There's a lot of ways you can do this.
Yeah, so I think I think that's like very much what it is. It's like she has the class, she's like really into it for a week and a half, and then like it's now gathering dust.
Okay.
Rough.
Can you
real
is it hold on. Is
Go
it
ahead,
real
sorry.
quick? Is this like a training thing where like did you have a limited time window to do this though? Like was this like a Kenneth Cross class and then you have to sign up for the one next semester because
No.
you didn't do it?
It's at your
okay.
own pace. Yeah.
Okay.
It's entirely self-willpower driven.
So the other thing that I wanted to ask about before we can maybe jump to somebody else to do something quickly is because I like making Eric's life harder. What exactly is this Mechwarrior Trials?
It'll just be like a powered down rounds. Like the lasers will only be light visible and they won't deal any damage. The computer will like flag hits essentially. And you don't necessarily have to defeat an opponent, but you do have to impress the range master in a like lance on lance battle.
And
So it's not just
what happens if you do or don't succeed at this?
well, if you do succeed, then you'll be a licensed mech warrior, and if you don't succeed, you will not be a licensed mech warrior. For as much as that matters. I mean, no one is going to stop you from getting into a mech if you're a noble, but it's socially embarrassing to fail the test, especially when your dad has gone out of the way to make sure that you can take it 3 years early.
Got it. Okay. In that case, Celeste, after spending too much time around Aunt Morgan and the other mercenaries, thinks that this test is total bullshit and is not planning to show up.
You're right. You have made Agus's life harder. That reminds me. I have to. Someone left me a counterpoint to Eric specifically about Morgan.
Because that seems like the kind of thing that Morgan Griffins would be like, oh no, like you don't need that shit. Like that's just some formality for the nobles, Like
exactly.
we're going out. We're gonna be mercenaries, We're going out into the frontier. It doesn't matter.
No one's gonna check if you have a license to pilot a mech.
You have the neuro,
mech.
you have the neuro helmet codes. Like, what else do you need? It turns on and listens to you. Like, what do you?
Exactly.
Yeah. So Celeste has decided that she's too cool for this test, and the social embarrassment will fall on Lachlan anyway, and so she's planning to just not show up. And you guys can know that. That's totally fine with me.
All right.
Oh, okay. That
Last
does change
episode,
things.
Eric told me that I was America pilled for saying that you had to be 21 to drink, and he immediately rewrote reality.
Wow.
Someone
That doesn't
was
sound like
like,
me.
someone was
that's
like,
totally accurate
yeah,
though.
if
Nah,
Eric,
that can't be me.
if Eric wants to America pill, why don't you have him marry his aunt because of all of the European nobility who are all marrying their first cousins? And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold on to
I
this one.
mean-
I didn't realize I'd hold
man,
on
I'm
to
in-
it for like 7 weeks, but get European
good.
pilled.
That's true. I reject. I do not give Alf Habsburg vibes, but I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, right.
So true.
Man.
I feel like this is where we come back in on Angus, though, is that you're getting a paper report that's been printed off by Fish, indicating that Celeste has withdrawn from the trials and will not be there in the future. He doesn't say, like, he knows that you about the deal between you and your dad, but he doesn't say anything. He just scratches his chin and hands you the piece of paper.
Nice.
It's got that fresh printer ink smell of, right there.
Yeah.
The paper is still warm.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, I have to go. All right, I look at this and I like drop the paper, and immediately go to my phone to call up Celeste. So do we? Are these phones flip phones? You don't have flip phones.
No, it's flip
they
phones.
are.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
This is roughly co-perioding with the 90s.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So
Celeste,
I'm calling you.
Your flip phone. What is okay? So
What's your ringtone?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. But I know now. See, the Zoomers don't know about this. Okay, nowadays I feel like when I hear everybody's phone nowadays, they just have the default ringer for whatever their phone or their phone company is. Somehow we've all collectively chilled out and no longer have "Hey ya" as our phone for like 10 million people in the United States. You know what I mean? Like at some point
you
it was
paid
no longer
$2 for
original. Yeah, that's right. You'd have to pay money for it now. Whereas back in the day, you would just rip it on Napster.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but it is the 90s of Battletech right now, which leads me to ask, what is your ringtone for your brother? Your older brother, I should say.
That's a good question.
Well, your younger but not youngest brother, since you do have a younger brother.
It's just
Menelaus.
It's just the. It's like a cry. It's like the phone is crying.
Wah,
Like it's,
wah,
yeah, exactly.
Wah.
Wah, wah. Because she knows that, Angus is just going to call the wine at her about something.
Third monitor, you have the Kenneth Cross video paused. Solitaire, second monitor. You are viewing your Yahoo Mail on the first monitor when your flip phone goes off. Wah.
Yeah, I'll answer it.
Hey, little sis.
She's actually older than you by like
yeah,
3
she's
years.
older.
Whatever. Hey, babe. What the hell is going on? I just saw you were dropping out of Dad's course. What? This must be some kind of mistake.
Yeah, I don't. Why do I need a license?
Because our dads are kind of expecting it, and I know maybe like you're okay with being a loser or whatever, but like none of us are. Like, what do you think Athena and I are gonna do when we're showing up there? Do you have any idea what kind of pressure you're putting on your other siblings? This is crazy of you. This is so selfish.
Well, I'm sorry that I wasn't thinking about you when I made my plans for how I'm going to go about my career as a Mechwarrior.
This is unbelievable. I cannot believe you put yourself above this family.
You do realize that in real battles between mercenary forces, the number of actual licenses on the field are minimal. No one gives a shit about that. Oh, wait, you wouldn't know because you've never been off the planet.
You're real. You're a real piece of work. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. You know what? You're not coming to Dad's birthday party. Okay.
Oh,
I was
no.
gonna invite you, but you know what? Guess not anymore.
Oh no!
Oh,
I can't
hang
join
on.
this party.
I have to take this call. A call's coming in from Jacobson and I like whatever Talent 7 and a bunch of others. Oh, hey, oh wow, my phone's really blowing up. Turn off. Immediately hang up.
Yeah. Celeste just
Loser.
immediately goes back to whatever she was doing.
Is there anything
Solitaire.
Yeah. What am I gonna do, Fish?
Fish reaches up to his shoulder and he pulls out a pistol and starts screwing a silencer in it. And he hands it to you and he says, well, you could be a man.
I'm not gonna. What? Oh, this is a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke. Fucking hate unscrewing silencers. Just ruin this gun. Starts unscrewing it and he stuffs it back into his shoulder and says, yeah, it was a joke. Right.
But, you know, she could. No, I'm not going to physically hurt my sister, you psychopath. Come on, I need other ideas. What can we do? Maybe we can reschedule this or get the test made it easier or just have someone. Oh, you know, someone else can take the test in her stead.
Yeah.
Like a body double.
Yeah. You want me to find a body double for your half sister?
Yeah.
Okay. What's going to happen when that person takes the test and then Celeste is spotted somewhere else at the same time?
I don't know. We bribe them. They're mistaken. No, the witness.
What makes you think your sister won't just go to the press and immediately tell them that you faked her with a body double?
I can't just get rid of her. I got to deal with this birthday party. I don't need this level of stress right now. I don't need it. All right,
he pulls out a chair
yeah.
and sits down across the desk from you. And
Yeah.
he's using one hand to flip the silencer through his fingers. And he says, look, back in my day, there's this real piece of work. All right.
Yeah.
This fucker of mothers, Sebastian Bassett. We were always trying to nail this guy to the wall for like 2 decades. All right. He's your dad's biggest nemesis. You heard of him?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, it took your dad to take him down, all right? But this guy, you know, he had this way with people that he would, if they didn't do what he wanted, he'd schmooze them. He'd try to get them on his side. He'd put societal pressure on them, all right? That was the first step. That was the carrot. You got to show the carrot first. All right. You haven't shown a carrot. You haven't even shown a stick. You just threw a little tantrum right there. You think someone can't tell that you're lying about Talent 7 being on the line for you? You can't sing and dance, kid. So what I'm saying is you need to start, I wouldn't say being nice to your sister, but by giving her a reason to show up. A reason that this would be good for the family. And then, when she's thinking about that, you show her the stick, which is what her dad's going to do if she doesn't show up. And what you're going to do if she doesn't show up. That's just my advice, though, from having watched a professional manipulator on both sides of the wire for 20 years.
All right. Okay. Enough of your freaking... Are you done? I was falling asleep there at the end.
You know, kid, you don't have nearly enough respect in you to talk to me that way. He leaves the silencer on your desk. It just stands up and walks away.
Yeah, that's fair. I need to make calls about getting this party set up. So it's not. This party needs to be the most banging party in the world.
Sure. I mean, it is for like a 60-year-old man, but okay.
Yeah, that's fair. But like, this is supposed to be a very good.
Sorry, he's 47. All right, but you're like, this is gonna be the most banging party, and I'm like, is it though?
I mean, yeah, it's gonna be.
You tell me what this party is supposed to be.
It's higher octane than your standard 47-year-old's birthday party.
Okay.
This is not a level of formality of like a Karinsky ball, but I'm definitely thinking like John Wick Euro dance with suit kind of, you know.
It would help if I'd seen any John Wick movie.
Okay. Like Baroque meets I don't know, like I can't I have to keep falling back to the well of Euro house dance stuff.
Okay. All right.
So well, like, you need
you have a place to hold it. You need so you need venue, you need a guest list, and you need who's gonna be doing the like DJing and such.
Yeah.
You gotta acquire these three things minimum.
Yeah.
So what are you going for?
I think the easiest one would be a venue. The hardest thing would be the guest list. Right.
Well, you do, unlike the others, you do have part of a guest list. You currently have one Heroican family in its entirety showing up to support you towards your dad.
Yeah. And I just have to marry him to get in on it.
Sure.
Okay.
You want to secure political power? Sometimes you have to do things. Sometimes you have to marry people.
Let's do the venue part.
Okay. What kind of venue are you thinking of? Like, it sounds like you want some sort of refurbished industrial loft downtown near the spaceport.
I want to rent like whatever like the coolest thing for like the youngest generation is. I want to rent that, right? Because I'm hip with it.
Of course.
Right.
Yes.
I want to buy it all out.
Xers.
Yeah.
You want to buy
so whatever the name of that dance club would be.
You tell me the name of the dance club. As far as getting the club and paying for it, you are a baron. Neither of these is a problem for you. You know, for like the average person, just even tracking down the name of this club would be nearly impossible. For you, it's done in like 15 minutes.
Okay. I mean, the first name that came to my head is like Steppenwolf, but I don't know. It's probably something better than that.
Okay.
Yeah. Or like Beauregard. I don't know. Or it has to be like a single thing like Whisper or like Lush. You know, that'd be a good name for a club.
You want Lush?
Yeah, let's go with Lush.
All right,
Lush sounds more proper vibe.
I'm imagining there's a lot of greenery and like fake plants in the corners and like a humid mist everywhere.
Yeah, and gamer lights. Yeah, you got it.
Bird calls randomly.
Yeah, it's like a Rainforest Cafe.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Right. Yeah, Rainforest Cafe meets John Wick is exactly the right.
Glad we're on the same page with that.
Okay. Yeah, it's a massive warehouse.
Cafe meets John Wick. It sounds absolutely ridiculous, but the moment you say it, I actually know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it really is very evocative.
Yeah.
All right. I want to jump to Eddie and see what Athena's doing.
Yeah, so
you have a bunch of stuff going on yourself.
I know. It's been fun to catch up on. Yeah, so I think the first thing that Athena would want to do is kind of look into before they go on that televised spot with Jacobson. I guess like get a better sense of the angle she can take to, build a relationship with Jacobson while still saving face with their father. And
I honestly don't know that exists. I don't know that there's you would need to explain it to me. I don't know that there's a line exists where Jacobson and your father will both be satisfied.
Oh,
This
I doubt
is
that.
the video game choice. You have to decide with the mages or the Templars.
Right.
There's no middle ground.
Well, my thinking is like if I can get neutral to at least one of them, that's great. Because I think that's kind of my aim is like maybe neutral with my father, but have like an in or some sort of like leverage with Jacobson or some sort of like boon from Jacobson in the future, or potentially a conspiracy that we could work together on. Because
Everything you're saying still sounds to me like you want to have your cake and eat it too. You need to pick this cake. Either you're putting it in the fridge to eat later,
Well,
or
I
you
mean,
need to eat it now.
I think it's partially because of the situation I've been put in, right? Like there's either like I renege on the televised spot and just like take the deal as is, or I do the televised spot, like leveraging the fact that Athena is someone that adheres to their word, and when they make a deal, which I think is definitely more in line with her character. So I think that's kind of where I'm going to go with it, and then we'll see how it plays out with the father. I think like ultimately my goal is to plant a seed with Jacobson of like, hey, you know, I don't always agree with my father, and my goal of kind of pre televised spot is to understand kind of like what the personality of Jacobson. Like, do I know him and what do I know of him? Right? Is he pretty reclusive? Does like, I know he's lost some power in terms of just like, you know, his ability to perform interstellar trade because of the you know, thing that he did to aid my father in the Blaze Oath of Endosteel in the past.
Well, all right. Let me set this up then. How do you feel about having a conversation with him in the green room immediately before the meeting?
I think that's cool. That's kind of what I was thinking, like having like just a very intimate conversation prior to that, like not trying to like set something up beforehand, instead just like kind of putting him on the spot of, hey, here's my thought.
You walk into the green room having just finished makeup and wardrobe. Jacobson is already there. He's wearing a suit. He's got a little pinstriped beanie on. He's got glasses, and he looks like he's straining to look at the piece of paper for his speech in hand. He's got a very relaxed, formal look to him, but he's also wearing, you know, like a watch worth someone's car at the same time.
Right. Yeah, and I think Athena is wearing kind of like a business, like kind of what a scientist would wear. Well, I guess she's a scientist noble, so she would probably have that sense of style where it's very practical, but has like an elevation to it. So kind of like a business casual. That's very put in place. So I'm imagining kind of like a blouse button down with like you know, kind of maybe like I don't know the word for it, but like the puffy like brochet or I forget the name. I'm not good with fashion, but the point is like she looks fabulous with this, and then she has that hairdo up with her kind of like little accessories that she always has in her hair. And she walks up to Jacobson and just says, "It's a pleasure to finally meet you."
He's going to stand up and extend a hand out and says, "Ms. Menchikov."
She returns the handshake.
Gestures for a seat across from his as he sits back down. He's immediately looked back down at the papers.
It's intriguing to me that my father has not done more business with you, considering what you've done for him in the past. It seems that you two have had turbulence for many years.
He doesn't look up from the papers, but you can see his eyebrows raised slightly, and he says, that what we're here to talk about today? What your father's done for my businesses in the past?
Of course not. Today is about the future. But I figured we'd talk a little bit more about that.
He takes his papers and he puts them on the desk beside him, and he finally looks at you for the first time and he says, I meet a lot of people every day for my entire life. I don't have a lot of time to spare, Ms. Minchkov. I don't have time to spare on useless small talk. So just give it to me straight what you want out of this. I don't know why you've approached interstellar expeditions. I don't know why there's a public-private partnership. What do you want from me? I appreciate brevity and conciseness.
What I want from you is an understanding of my father that only his adversaries would have. And this deal is what it is, an attempt to build something better for the future. I don't always agree with my father, and I want someone outside of my family to be able to support me in my endeavors.
He adjusts his glasses and says, I've supported your father in the past right before he stabbed me in the back repeatedly. You know what I don't like about your father? I can get past the betrayal. He is not a concise man. He's verbose. He gives long, grandiose speeches. That is a man who likes the sound of his own voice more than he likes getting things done.
I agree. And it's one of the reasons why we don't always agree. He likes to use smoke and mirrors. I like the facts. I like the truth.
So you want me to believe that you're willing to sideswipe your father so that you can gain outside approval from me with what little political power I have?
I'm endeavoring to make moves, and you know more about this world than I do, and others. You still have connections, and I figure you have a legacy that you want to leave behind. And I think she looks at the speech and kind of like adjusts her glasses.
Okay. We're just
kind
doing
of
a lot
like
of glasses adjusting now. All right. Okay.
No. It's like, I mean, if he were to pick up on it, it's like kind of a tick, or not a tick, a gesture, like intuiting the fact that his eyesight is getting worse and he's getting older. He needs to start thinking about what he's leaving behind.
I see. You're trying to subtly threaten him about his legacy.
Not threaten him.
Okay.
I'm just trying to like put pressure on the fact that like you're not getting any younger, man.
He takes his glasses off and he rubs his eyes and he says, young lady, I'm 67 years old. I've been working on my legacy since before your father was born. Your father has done everything he can alongside the ancient enemies of his house in order to tear me down. I am a contributing member to interstellar expeditions. My personal fortune went towards helping discover the St. Augustine artifacts and recovering ancient Earth relics of Catholicism. I used to sponsor the every 5 years drop by around Valentina for tracking the Minnesotans.
Indeed. You were prolific. And it's not too late to rebuild that.
Rebuild that. Why don't I tell you what I want? I would like you to go up with me on stage today and do whatever it takes to convince the public that you are truly independent from your father. I don't mean a complete separation from your family, because you have brothers and sisters who are competent.
Indeed.
You have a sister who is competent.
I think she like straight up just grins. Like, so you're aware of my brother then?
It's time for the McDougall children to begin stepping out of the nest. I want you to act as a shield for me against your father. And if you can prove to me that you can do that, we can do business together. And I can act as a pair of wings for you.
And that is my goal.
I don't appreciate half measures. I don't appreciate veiled talk or double dealings. I want this to be straightforward. You, independent path, we walk together today.
Science has no attachment to others. And that is my goal.
I think you'll find that science has attachment to everyone. The pursuit of science, knowledge, and history is that of the study of what has come before.
And what is to come in the future. I agree. You're right. I chose my words poorly. It is attached to everyone, and therefore not to one person. If I follow this path of independence,
you're a patron of many groups of scientists on planet, and you have your new satellite. I'd be willing to talk about research grants, keep it functioning in orbit.
All right. And in regards to, well, perhaps that is something we can figure out later. I know we don't have much time before we have to go on stage, but I do appreciate you at least entertaining the thought. I will do my best to be your shield. As you know, my father can be quite conspiratorial. And for that, yes, those research grants would certainly help me have funds outside. But I'm sure there are other merchants and deals that we might be able to arrange to help, again, further that independence. My father has a lot of control over the purse strings of the family still, and he aims to find a successor. There is potential that I could still net some of that in some level.
He stands up and begins adjusting his suit and looks you in the eye, and he says, I'm not asking you to tear your father down. We all stand on the shoulders of those who came before us. But you do need to stand before you can soar. That's what I'm asking for you to do today. Do you want to be the successor of the McDougall family? Are you fine with being the Baroness of the Menchikovs? I don't care. Those are problems you need to sort out on your own. Here's what I care about. Protection. I need someone to stand against your father because he's coming for me. And you've got until the end of the news conference to convince me and the world that you're it.
Very well.
So, like, someone opens the door and, like, gestures, and he walks out first and just walks out on stage unskeptical and says, thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming. I want to say that the partnership that we are looking forward to here is one that will change the face of Whittington forever. The kind of satellite technology that we will be recovering is one that will allow us to track weather track orbital objects, allow for more understanding of the world around us. It will allow us to reach the level of technology of our ancestors and perhaps one day surpass it. The Fig Yell 2 from Interstellar Expeditions is one that could one day be seen throughout the inner sphere. So I am so honored that we have been chosen as one of the first premier rollouts of this technology. Here to explain what it will be doing on our planet is Baroness Athena Menshikov. He claps, everybody, and then we're going to cut to a scene just in case you want to write a speech. I want to give you a minute now that you've agreed to some things.
I have the start of one, so give me a few minutes and I'll.
Sure.
But thank you.
Now, normally, AP, when I have to do a speech, you just toss it right to me and make me speech. But, you know.
Eddie just got out of the hospital.
I'm just kidding.
You're a lawyer.
You're used to that kind of pressure.
Yeah, I'm giving you fair. That's your entire job.
You're telling me you can't come up with a speech on the spot that will convince an entire study group in order to stay together for 6 seasons?
Oh,
it's community reference.
Yeah.
All right, where do we go to next?
I can do things unless Eric wants to try to convince me again to attend the licensing.
I gotta figure out what you want. I need to figure out what your carrot is.
That's a great point. Okay. I will maybe I want to do some Pax Charlemagne stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
You fly on out to Pax Charlemagne headquarters, which is Genji Yohei's mansion in the south east, below the Hirokan Heartlands, built into a monastery on the side of a waterfall. A combination dojo, noble house. Now it's also a corporate retreat. There's an independent, like, small spaceport and like a full Pax Charlemagne, like, company of mechs bay, and a lot of infantry barracks, tanks, everything you need in order to have an independent noble guard. If you'd like to go see the old man Genji Yohei, he's in the manor, but Pax Charlemagne is out back in the yard, all doing assembly and practicing parade formations right now.
I think before meeting with Genji, I want Celeste to do some like like kind of like joining up with the troops and like see how much this, because I have honorary Pax Charlemagne membership on here. Yes. I want to see how much that's like, everyone looks at her as like that weird noble who comes around every now and then versus like the people in the Pax Charlemagne see her as an honorary member versus like the outside sees her as an honorary member. You see what I'm saying? Like,
you want to start with Pax Charlemagne then?
Yeah.
You arrive and the commander of Pax Charlemagne pops open the cockpit of his Blackjack 3, swivels it towards you, and says, Celeste, where the hell's your mech?
That's a great. Well, like, she probably can't bring a mech here very easily, huh?
Yeah.
So I think she'll say, I'm still working on some way to get something that I can store out here. It's becoming a bit of a hassle trying to bring the Lancelot all the way over anytime I want to help out or anytime I want to join up in practice formations.
Yeah, you could see he's looking around, and as he looks around, he's unconsciously also operating his mech's torso. It's like he turns to look right, and the whole mech torso also turns right. It's kind of uncanny in how good of a mech warrior he is that he's doing that without even thinking about it. And he raises one of the Blackjack's little laser arms and is just like, all right, guys, let's take 5. When we come back, we're going to be practicing in uniform demonstrations. grab a rifle, and let's show our wayward honorary vice commander here what we can do. You can see he's like climbing down from his mech, as are several other Mechwarriors. So the big three members here are Hiroshi Genji, which is Yohei Genji's heir, a distant nephew, who's also an honorary vice commander. But he's an honorary vice commander because one day these people will be his bodyguards. Cirrus Higgle, who's the commander of the entire unit and the Blackjack pilot. And then Rose Naveen, who's a warrant officer with the unit. She's got a prototype Marauder that she was given. She is rising to prominence because she's really pushing for that old school Yohei Genji leads a raid on Valentina and blows up his rival's house and kills the mom sort of deal. She wants to go back to those days instead of parade formations here. So she's leading like a Young Turks faction or whatever you'd call it.
Okay, yeah, I think Celeste and Rose probably get along because, like, especially, like Celeste really likes to see herself as like mercenary first, even though that's kind of just like a facade for like a black sheep noble trying to get away from the family. You know what I mean? But she wants everyone to think of her as just kind of like one of the gang, a real rough and tumble soldier type. So I think maybe she goes up to Rose to greet her after doing the paying respects to the leader.
So Rose's mech is called a Marauder 4X. It replaces the Marauder arm weaponries with something called a binary laser cannon, which only exists for about 5 minutes in Battletech fiction before it's replaced with a bunch of better stuff. But it also has prototype double heat sinks. On top of having prototype double heat sinks, it also has single type heat sinks. So it's a very strange looking mech that's constantly breaking down. You could see, like, as she's getting down from her mech, she can't come to you because she's filling out a report with a technician about what went wrong, so it can be mailed back to Ronin Incorporated's main facility to fix like whatever the problem for this week is. She turns and smiles at you, and her hair kind of floats vaguely in the breeze as that happens, and then she just comes over and just like punches you in the shoulder and says, "Hey, Celeste, how's it going, mercenary? What's it take for the big noble hotshot to come down here to the old militia headquarters?"
Oh, I'm just wanted to take a look at the finest Mechwarriors on planet when they're doing their practice. It's a lot better than running the simulations with my siblings.
Oh, I didn't realize the Hirokins were here.
Celeste just chuckles, and I think she'll say something like, "Well, look, if you'll believe the nobles on planet, each and every house has the best Mechwarriors in Whittington. But
yeah, but you've served with the Hirokins, with Yusuf.
Oh, don't get me wrong, Yusuf's boys are pretty hard to top. I mean, look, there's a big difference between actually being out there and, I don't mean to disparage, but I know we're on the same page with this."
I think there's a lot more we could be doing with our resources than parade formation.
I tend to agree, but I'm only an honorary member. It's not really my place to say. All I know is, besides me, who's very much on the periphery, there are folks in power who would be more than happy to help facilitate the Pax Charlemagne taking a more active role.
Rose looks at you and she says, with a quirked eyebrow, "Is that the official stance of the Duchess?"
So actually, hold on. I just got to make sure because it's been a long time since we played. If I remember correctly, Celeste hasn't told anyone else about her plan, because if anyone else knows, I get less XP, right?
Correct.
Right. So even it's like checking with the Duchess first would net me less XP.
Correct.
So I believe I did not do that.
Amazing.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. So Celeste will say, I wanted to make sure that I put feelers out with the right people before I brought this before the Duchess. She has a lot on her mind. If we can take things off of her plate, make things easier for her, that's my job.
Okay. I want to roll here.
Excellent. So this is I think going to be one of the interesting things about Celeste, and the more I've like thought about it, the more I like the idea of like she has 18 charisma.
Okay.
And because remember, I rolled insanely well for her charisma. And I think like the way that manifests is kind of that it's the aspect of like she's more like Lachlan than she likes to admit, right? Like she wants to be the like rough and tumble, hit first, talk later, kind of meathead vibes. But deep down, she's a bit of the kind of the talker and the kind of has that the natural charisma, right? People want her to be the leader, even if she doesn't necessarily always want to be. So I'm guessing this is just persuasion, right?
I would accept some of the following skills: bureaucracy, leadership, persuasion, profession general, or tactics at a negative. Any of these would be rolled with charisma.
So I have leadership and tactics. My leadership is at a 0, my tactics is at a 1, so it sounds like it's 6 and 1/2 dozen.
You'll want to roll leadership.
Okay.
His tactics will be at a -2.
Okay, then I will do so. I will roll leadership. So I'm going to be rolling with a +2, which is actually insanely good for a level 1 character.
Yes. Now you just have to roll good.
That's always my fatal flaw, but this time it worked out.
That's
That's going to be
10.
an 8 + 2 is a 10.
Okay. She gives you a slight wink. And you get the idea this wink is more than just mischievous. This is, I'll pass along this message to the right people sort of deal. And then somebody is yelling at her. It's the Genji heir. He's just like, Naveen, you sleeping on the job? Get your rifle. Reincolt, rifle. He's just like walking past you. Who's the guy from Band of Brothers? Silva? The guy played by Friends, David Schwimmer or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, he's just rifle. What are we doing here? Parade formation. Let's go.
Yeah, Celeste will hop 2 for sure.
Captain Sobel.
Celeste will hop 2, and she's got her equipment. She knows the drill.
You are attributed. I mean, this is our first time seeing it, but you are basically assumed to be a full member of this organization. It's understood that, like, you are also a noble and a mercenary, and you can't be here every day. But you're also a warrior, and you share values with them, right? They're not just soldiers here. They have a legacy, a pseudo legacy of something like samurai and knights, whatever weird blend Yohei Genji has put into their heads of values of honor, and you pass his checklist, which means you're one of them.
And to be clear, Celeste also really buys into that kind of whole idea, right? Is like even though she's even with the mercenary vibes, it's like she really sees in that kind of like hedge knight, like wandering Ronin kind of
right
modus operandi, right? It's like, she might take money to fight for a side, but she has her code of honor. She's doing this to maintain the mech. and to keep traveling the world. But
Right.
it's,
around here, mercenary isn't a bad word. It's just a sidestep for professional soldier.
Exactly.
First off, these guys aren't real soldiers. They don't serve in the actual military. They're noble guards. So what they consider to be soldierly is not in line with what the Federated Commonwealth Armed Forces would agree with, the AFFC. So they have slightly different values, and you lie within those values for them. Well, anything else you want to do during your time here, or can we cut away? We can also cut away and come back to this.
I think at some point, like I think like in the Flash, like after the training montage or whatever, she would probably want to have some kind of chat with Genji, but maybe we jump away and then we can jump back.
I know
to
that you definitely want to get Genji to declare for the Duchess.
I want Genji to declare for the Duchess, but I think that's like a slower role conversation. I think the first conversation that she is gonna, I think the way I would be interested in seeing the scene play out the first time is I want her to have to confront Genji with her ideas about why she doesn't need to get a license, because that seems like something that he would not be as into.
Yes. No, he's not into that.
And I like the idea of having her be like kind of a little bit of a petulant child in front of him, because it kind of shows, I don't know. It seems like a good scene. So
I can't wait till we come back to that. I do want to destroy Eddie real quick by forcing Athena to give a flash impromptu speech in front of the entire planet.
All right.
All I need, listen, you don't need to give a full speech here. If you've got some keynotes and a role you want to make.
Totally. Well, I have something
five.
to say. Type 5. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so I think setting the scene here, like Jacobson comes onto the stage into this broadcast. I think there's like, some level of representation of the satellite, and like maybe I don't know how fanciful this can be because like the technology levels is like so weird to me, but I'm thinking like they're showing like, oh yeah, here like before we came out, they're showing like the technology of the satellite and what it can bring to the planet, that sort of thing.
Zoom in, yes, enhance.
Yeah.
Okay, just to be clear, this is like a 1990s style satellite. It has an infrared imager, a high-res imager.
It's no James Webb
panels.
telescope, is what you're telling me.
It's not a James Webb telescope. It's like something you would have seen in the background accompanying the GoldenEye satellite in a James Bond film.
Got it. Okay.
Or in like what's the other?
It's not a Hubble, right? It's not like a Hubble kind of thing.
No, it's not a Hubble. It's literally like what are the Starlink or whatever, the little satellites we have now? Oh no, those are for internet. No, it's not that.
Yeah,
it is a scientific imaging satellite that looks down on the planet and also looks out into space, and just is like, hey, what's going on out there? Infrared, X-ray, blah blah blah, whatever.
It does like a low spectrum, or like only a few spectrums of light imaging kind of thing. So like well,
so this is what it says.
Shorthand is like I get it. It's like a very lower band of imaging that it can do.
It does weather monitoring, atmospheric sampling, geological survey, anything in the physical sciences.
Okay.
So it's like an all-purpose science satellite. And just to be clear, these have not existed in the inner sphere for hundreds of years.
Right. Like this even just like having this kind of even having these kind of satellite technologies seems like a very big deal based upon what you've described before.
This is the start of having GPS on planet again.
Right, exactly. Which, like, that's how we got our phones. And well, not how we got them, but anyway, the whole point. So I think setting up the scene again, Jacobson comes out, gives that beautiful speech entering into a new era. And I think there's like a moment of pause, and then he like comes back and I don't know if like there's an MC or anything like that says like and the one that brought this deal about
it's probably just Jacobson gesturing to you like in the wings of the theater.
Okay. And so I think Athena comes out, waves, regally as nobles have learned to do for many generations. Exactly. But I think it's a little bit more awkward because she's a scientist, so like she's kind of sheltered in some ways. And and then comes out and like gives Jacobson a very like showmanship handshake of like, hey, this is a deal well done, and says, thank you, sir Maximilian Jacobson. As you stated, this technology will unlock an understanding of our world not seen for generations. In years past, my family has worked with interstellar expeditions to the great benefit of Whittington. It is my pleasure to reopen that door in the name of science for all. In honor of my late mother, Countess Xenia Menshikov McDougall, I named this satellite Xenia 1 to inspire her love for exploring and understanding of the unknown in others as it blinks among the stars above us all. And I think there's like a banner that comes across the satellite imagery that has been coming up like with the scientific name, and it gets replaced with Xenia 1 and like an image, like a very glorious image of probably the best photo that Countess Xenia has ever had. Just like
she would have had to been very young because she had a pretty bad
rough
life. Yeah.
And yeah, so like and I think that maybe she says more about like the capabilities and what she'll do with it, but you know, that was kind of the first drive, and then looks Jacobson in the eye and like gives kind of a knowing like the deal is done sort of thing. Well, like in her mind, like I'm ready to do what I need to do.
I feel like you haven't done anything to prove that you're independent from your father yet.
I mean, that was my intention with the naming this after my mother and explicitly stating that this is in the name of science for all. Like, he talked about science is for everyone, and therefore
Okay.
not part of the family.
I will need a persuasion charisma check.
Okay.
Now, the last time I asked you for something like this, you rolled 2 6s. So maybe try not to go so hard this time, but you know, do what you want.
I mean, I can only hope, man.
That's how you ended up in this situation, is because you rolled 2 6s. You got the best possible result.
I have a 0 in this in persuade. Would I be able to get a bonus because of my skill in science and like pre-tech?
No.
No? Okay. How about bureaucracy?
No.
All right, fine.
You're not talking to the scientists today. You're talking to the general public, unfortunately.
That's true. All right. Oh,
unbelievable. Hate
that's
that.
A 10.
Hate that.
That's a 10.
That rollover, the last second, it was facing one the whole way down. It was one when it hit the table, and then it just bounced and rolled.
You'd love to see it, folks.
Hate that. Yeah. All right. You can see that Jacobson isn't 100% on this, but he does give a nod. He does move to stand beside you so that the two of you can be photographed standing together.
Yep, yeah. Photo ops.
The general public, though, loves this. You know, your mom is a very popular character in the same way that, like, someone, a popular, attractive young celebrity who dies very, very young and is, like, essentially made into a saint. You know, your mom was, like, a scientific super genius and a defender of the planet. Like, she was...
McCullough?
Sorry, who?
Susan McCullough? Sandra McCullough?
I don't know who that is. I was going with Diana. But...
The teacher that died in the Challenger disaster.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Gorgeous.
I have no memory of that. But
okay.
I might be too young for that or too old. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Yeah. You have essentially spoken to a public memory of your mother that people are willing to answer to mimetically.
Yeah.
I will technically say that if you would like to call this a completion of your goal to gain a business asset, I will say that you have minorly completed this. Or if you want to keep going for more XP, you could try to form a business alliance between Jacobson and the Wood People.
The Wood People.
I don't know what to call them anymore. They're called Con Intercontinental.
All right.
If you want to position yourself as a business leader on planet and go for the big money XP, you can. Or if you're satisfied with this, I wouldn't call it a partial victory, but I would call it a small victory.
I think I'll go for the big. May as well.
Okay. All right. Eric, it's been a while since we've come around to you. Have you had some thoughts about how you're going to carrot your sister?
No, because have you had any thoughts on working on your phrasing?
Yeesh.
Yeesh.
Well, I was using your own words. All right.
I need to. No, I was thinking about just changing tack because I have to spend it, or just spend some time to figure out how to get leverage over her. Sure. The big other things I wanted to do was I really need to get this party to be perfect as possible.
Sure.
And it's not exactly clear on the timeline between how much time do I have between this party, the time for getting my sister in line? Many months. Okay.
Not many months. Months.
Okay. That's good. So it's not like tomorrow and I slept. Okay. Good. Yeah. Okay. I mean, the obvious thing to do would be, and the thing that I'm stressing out that I could probably accomplish right now would be this guest list. Is there somebody that I can, is there someone I can direct this inquiry to? I want to, is there a human that is the person that has all the connections that I can try to convince to go to this party, who then can bring the entourages? Or do I have to call it different people different ways?
Feel like there must be someone like that. The big organizer.
Remember that Town 7 organizer?
Your stepmother. Oh yeah, if you want to go to Talent 7, that would also, and you know what? Talent 7 would keep it secret as well. Get all the celebs in without the general public knowing.
Yeah, okay. This is not open to the public. This party is going to be all private VIP people.
All right, so yeah, you are looking to get a hold of Talent 7's new generation producer. Now, as a reminder, it used to be an all-woman thing. It's now an all-young men thing of Blackpink or any K-pop band.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It's attractive young men who look good in advertising, who also can sing and dance. And while they're primarily known for their singing and dancing, their real value is that they can be marketed for watches and shit.
You got it. Basically whatever sort of vacuous popular thing that to me just seems like the way to spend money on prestige, I want at this party.
Okay.
Right.
So this guy is known by the nickname P Sensei. It's
okay.
It's a nickname or a trade name. He's 6'2", built like a gorilla, Caucasian guy, but with very deeply tanned skin, gold chains, Hawaiian shirt. He has that hair that makes it look like he just woke up and rolled out of the bed, but it's still somehow perfect. And that makeup has to spend at least an hour with him every day to get it to that level of.
Yeah.
He just also has an absurdly thin waist. It's just too small for his large upper torso of a bodybuilder and the legs of a ballerina.
Yeah. Skips leg day. I gotcha.
Yeah, he has you meet him at the studio in the Capitol.
Sure.
He's at his desk, behind the desk, looking out over the skyline from the 52nd floor of a skyscraper, and he's like, "Hey, here's the guy, Angus McDougall. Listen, if I didn't already have 7 guys, I'd be looking at getting you on my roster."
Okay, yeah, you can't afford my rates. Listen, listen, my dad's birthday party's coming up, and I know how cool you all are, and I know, you might be booked, but like I need to make room, and you got to be there. I need to pull out all the stops for my dad here. This big 47.
Okay. He wraps an arm around your shoulder and then walks you to look out over the skyline of the city. And he says, "You know what I see when I look at you, Angus? I see a man looking to step out of the shadows. You see down there? Look at the shadow of this building. See the people, the other buildings down there? It's called the panorama effect. When you've got such a tall, amazingly beautiful building like this, it looks so much better if there's a bunch of smaller, useless buildings down there to make it look bigger by comparison. All right. Sometimes you need 6 relatively attractive, talented young men to make a 7th, much more attractive, incredibly talented young men stand taller than all the rest. The Beyonce, right? Sometimes you just got a Destiny's Child, the other 6. That's just how it is in the business." He gives you a friendly shake and he says,
Yeah.
You need to step out of the shadow. Your siblings, they're real shadowy. I just got done watching your sister give some sort of nerdy press conference for losers.
She is such a nerd.
What was she even wearing? You know what I mean? Come on. She looks like she walked out of a dress catalog from 30 years ago. All right. Your other sister, who even knows what Celeste is doing? She's walking in the shadow of the Duchess. All right. When I see you, I'm looking at a young man who needs a producer in his life so that he can step out of the shadow of his family, the shadow of his father. You come to me, you want favors, you want to set up a nice birthday for your father.
Yeah.
I can do these things for you. I can. I just want to. People come to me and they say, "P Sensei, I want to meet Lachlan McDougall," and I say, "I can make that happen. But what can you do for me?" So let me ask, what can you do for me in this regard? Is it money? I've got money. I'm on the 52nd floor of a building I own. I run the biggest advertising company. I know we sell ourselves as a talent company. We're advertising. What we sell is people products. We sell people products. All right. We put young men in t-shirts. We put them in jeans. We put them in cars, and people want those objects. What can you sell me that is equivalent to pulling in the big names on the planet so that you can make your dad look better?
Well, I got that access.
That access. Yeah, access. Sure. That access. Remind me about that access again.
Well, we can, I got my guys running the ports. Anything that you want.
Anything?
I mean, with anything. I'm gonna try to coach it back, but I'm like, who am I kidding? Of course I want to say I can do anything. Yeah.
He turns towards you. He looks at you very seriously. I'm not even going to make you make a roll, because once this guy gets a foot in the door, he's gonna make it happen.
Yeah, but
he holds out a hand for you and says, "Yeah, you know what? For access at the ports, I can make sure that all the big names show up to a real quiet function. No one's ever going to know your dad was born this day." You don't want to get into the press. I'll keep it out of the press. We'll find a way to cover for everybody. We'll get the whole Talent 7. We'll get some of the old, the girls from the last generation. I'll see if I can get any.
Oh, yeah, he loves them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, your dad loves younger women for sure. Absolutely. Everybody knows it. Hey, don't look at me like that. He married his mistress. Okay, you know, it says a lot about a man.
He's a DiCaprio. I know.
Oh shit!
I'm so sorry, Leo. I know you're a big fan of the show.
Admittedly, Rosamund is only 3 years younger than him. But yes, he has routinely married women who are younger than him, for sure.
Wow. I mean,
right.
that is.
I mean, yeah, I will absolutely make this this deal.
I'll see if I can find a con that we can sneak in. You know, you never know when they're going to be on planet or not.
Yeah.
Anybody I shouldn't be inviting?
Any rivals? Anything that would be? No, just get the best. Doesn't matter. I don't want to tell him about my sister. That's actually like more embarrassing, you know?
Well, I mean, I'm telling you, I'm going to tell you this. If you don't say anything, he's going to invite your sisters and your younger brother simply because it's something a party organizer would do. Is make sure the whole family's there.
No, that's good. And they should. Okay. And it also kind of shows how little I care about my sister's opinion about that anyways. But also, it'll make them feel bad. Like, oh, you know, should be going. So, okay. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
All right.
Yeah.
You start getting a list of, you know, the people that will be there by the end of the day. Celeste and Athena, you've both received invitations to a private birthday party for your father being hosted by Angus McDougall. Would you like to RSVP with, and there's +1?
I think so I'm going to put this out there for Eric because I posted it in our chat, but I like the idea that Athena doesn't really care for parties at all, and also doesn't really care about the mech tests. Like she just mostly wants to do it because she wants to be the best at anything she puts her mind to.
Yeah,
that's really making this tough.
Well, you know, it's also like she's dealt with bureaucracy and like, you know, it's like, oh, well, how can I make it so that my brother has to help her, right? And so she gets this invite. I think she just says, I'm trying to think of like how nobles would talk about like finding a suitor in like some like subtle way. Because the women of like noble families would, you know, have to be married off and that sort of thing, right? So I think that's kind of like how she texts Angus back saying like,
OMG, you got Lil P or whatever his name is. What was his name? P Smalls?
P Sensei.
P Sensei.
P Sensei. Oh my god.
Thanks.
It's like, OMG, you got little P Sensei. But then like
heart
says,
emoji.
Yeah, heart emoji. But then like says, but who's gonna be my +1?
You're asking your brother who your +1 is?
No.
I mean,
I've never had this conversation with my sister.
Oh, you've never been hooked? I mean, yeah, I never actually had this, but I've definitely had friends where they matchmake like friends with theirs and stuff.
Oh, I'm not sure you want Angus matchmaking anybody else.
No, but I do want his machinations to have to aid mine. I'm trying to find a suitor, and so I think like what I'm imagining is Angus being like, oh shit, like my sister's not, or well, maybe not, oh shit, my sister's not going to come, and like texts the Talent 7 guy and like says, you need to find a really good date for my sister as like one of the requests.
So you're asking Angus to have his party organizer find you a date. Great, Eric. How do you respond to that message? Find me a date.
I mean, yeah, I think I would do it simply because I need her to help me convince Celeste. So I kind of need the second sibling to help me in case, you know what I mean? I need a favor I need the leverage.
All right.
I'm loving this cooking pot.
So like obviously it doesn't go without saying anything like that, but like I'm going to use this for leverage, right? In the idea that this favor means that you'll help me in the future.
Sure.
Right. Okay.
I think that's fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Athena, you receive a message from P Sensei asking you to meet him at 8:30 p.m. on the roof of Talent 7 skyscraper.
I got you, sis.
At the roof pool.
And
I like how this is coming full circle, because didn't P Sensei like totally bash on
yeah, absolutely bash on you for sure.
Anko, and then bash on oh my gosh, Kuro. Way back when. Love it. Yeah, okay. And then I think she squeals because she's still a teenager, still has like those crushes. I think P Sensei was maybe one of her first crushes.
That's horrible.
I know. It's like a guilty pleasure.
All right. You're going to this meeting?
Sure.
All right. He's in a different Hawaiian shirt, same pattern, swim trunks. And in the background, it's clear that they're in the middle of a Talent 7 photo shoot in the pool, right? It's like the 7 guys are like with floaties or whatever. They appear to be trying to sell cognac. You're not sure why it's related to swimming, but it's a bunch of guys in short swim shorts and Speedos, handsome young men all selling a bottle of cognac. Full production team up here, lights, camera, sound. You're on like the cabana plus drinks side of it with P, and he's behind the bar and gestures to you to sit down at the bar. He goes, "Hey, Athena,
hello.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I heard you were looking for a date to your dad's birthday party."
Yes. How did you know?
Your brother asked me to find you a date.
Oh. Yes. And I think she's like blushing, and like it's just kind of like, it's weird because she's obviously nobility and like dealt with like aristocrats and all that sort of thing, but because this is that kind of hidden crush, I feel like she just kind of loses her. Yeah.
Okay.
Who were you thinking?
Calm down. First off, let me say this. He slides a business card and says, "Look, I saw the press conference. You need a manager, someone to be your personal assistant, to handle your outfits, your styling, your makeup. You need someone who can do you, not whoever the venue is getting for you. All right? I know people, and we can get you into the modern era. All right? You need to look 30-45, not 30-28. Okay? You look. I'm gonna be.
I think she's like in her head. She's like having an inner monologue about, but pre-tech was so much more advanced than what we have today.
Okay, I agree. You have the same fashion sense as your father.
I think at that she's like, well, that can't be.
That's right, because your father dressed like he lived on Solaris, and you dress like you lived in Whittington 20 years ago.
All right. Well, what can I do?
Look, look, that's not why we're here tonight. Like I said, call my office. We'll get you hooked up with a stylist and a personal assistant for a very reasonable rate. They'll hire a team. You'll tell them what you want. If you don't know, they'll just make you look good. All right. What do you drink anyway? What are you, 18? We are on America pilled around here, so we'll just drink whatever we want.
I mean, I think like even I don't remember actually how old she is.
She's 18.
Okay. Yeah, I think she probably had some like what's McDougall's favorite drink, like Lachlan's favorite drink?
Beer.
Oh yeah.
No, Lachlan.
Didn't he drink like scotch or some sort of?
I think if I remember correctly, he liked gin.
Okay. So I think like a very simple gin and tonic with like a garnish.
All right.
That's like her go-to drink. Yeah,
He makes
gin and tonic.
yeah, he makes you a gin and tonic, and he mixes himself up like an old fashioned.
I think she's like, oh, what's that? Like she hasn't seen it before.
Don't worry about it. It's a cocktail. It's complicated.
It's like the simplest
Oh,
of
yeah.
cocktails.
Yeah, hang on. For the whole scene though, is he like a mixologist? Like, does he have like
Yeah.
the bar spoon and like, you know what I mean? Does he have
Is
the
he
whole like
the crystal
yeah,
container?
Yeah,
that's, like,
yeah, that's, you know what I mean. Like
yeah,
just for the
yeah.
scene, like is it that or is it like
he's making an old fashioned, but he's like actually crushing sugar cubes instead of like
Yeah.
pouring a
Yes.
simple syrup.
yeah, like that's
there was-
exactly right.
If there
Like
was
how
something that would make him seem
mortar
more
pestle.
pretentious and worldly,
Yeah.
he would be doing it. So yes.
Okay, got you.
okay,
got
good.
you.
Okay, this
right.
was a very important detail. Thank
This
you.
is the guy who tries too hard for sure.
Got it.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
I think Athena's like kind of puts aside her gin and tonic and says, I want to try that. Like thinking back to the fact that he just told her that she dresses like her dad, and she realizes that this is the same drink that her dad drinks. She's like, oh fuck, no, I need to do something different. So she's like, can I try that?
Yeah. He slides you one and starts making another for himself. It's the full drink, orange slice, cocktail cherry, all that stuff. And he goes for a cheers with you.
Blink.
I mean, it's bitter whiskey, so I don't know. Is that what you're into?
I think this is like her. But it's got like a sweetness to it. So I think there's like a moment of her just kind of being like, oh, okay. And she kind of like swishes it around in her mouth, kind of like getting it all. She like intuitively as a scientist, she's like trying to experience it fully. I think is how I'm imagining.
While you're distracted drinking the drink, he gets to the actual work at hand. And while you're occupied, he says, all right, so are you looking for somebody to take home at the end of the night, or are you just looking for someone to be like on your arm?
I think she blushes again because she's there's like an implication that like there's something more going on. I'm
So innocent.
yeah.
Yeah, he just
She's
looks at
a
you. He's
very
like,
sheltered scientist. Okay.
yeah, listen, kid, you absolutely have to get some makeup. That blush is so obvious. I'm telling you,
What?
need. Yeah, don't worry about it. Look, are you looking to fuck somebody after you get done with your dad's party, or are you just looking for someone that'll make you look good?
I think
there?
I think she like nervously takes this like a much larger sip of the whiskey or the old fashioned than she intends, and she's like,
While you're doing that, he shouts. He's just like, Antonio, I want to see that ass. You see the cameraman's just like, okay, boss. He just like starts zooming in on one of the guys' butts that just
my
has a cognac bottle on the back. Like he's swimming and there's just a cognac bottle on his butt for some reason. He has to work really hard at keeping level enough so that it doesn't fall off.
I think she
I want to be
takes
clear.
that.
I'm trying to make this guy like a creepy, horrible person that you would really find in Hollywood for sure.
Oh,
No,
for
yeah,
sure.
this guy is
Okay.
literally just a
Just
fucking
making sure he's
tower
a
man.
walking
This
nightmare.
sounds like a Hollywood exec that you don't always want to hang out with.
Well,
Let's
listen,
just
I
say
wasn't
that
going
much.
for Harvey Weinstein, but you know,
Okay, fair. Not that deep. Okay,
not that deep. Not that deep.
Extreme Ari Gold from Entourage vibes.
You would want to
What?
clean
That's a
your
deep
hand
cut.
after. Oh my god.
Wow.
Well,
man.
it sounds like I'm hitting my target audience with this guy. You guys understand
All right,
who
all
he
right.
is.
Yeah, I think she like after that taking that big swig, she's like, I mean, I think I'm looking for someone that would be suitable for me.
Okay. What's your preference? You like guys? You like girls? Non-binary? What are we looking for here? What are you comfortable with?
I think like this is where she like has never asked this question of herself. And so like intuitively she's like, Well,
You like older? You like younger? You want somebody your age? You looking for a zaddy? Like what's?
Yes, look that up later, folks. If you don't know it.
Don't look it up later.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
It's just a fancy way of saying silver fox, right?
It's true. I'm pretty sure that's what it means.
Yeah, this is the Gen Z way of saying silver fox is zaddy.
No, so I think she's thinking about the responsibility she has to this to the family, and like that's all she really knows because of her sheltered nature and like how she was raised. So I think she just says, I'm just looking for someone who can hold a good conversation.
You know what, Athena? When you walked in here, I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting much, and I don't think
and she looks cute. To be clear.
Yeah, but this guy deals with the cutest of cute.
That's fair.
On a daily basis. He says, I wasn't expecting much. That's actually the smartest thing I've heard you say so far. Enough that you've raised, in my estimation, quite a bit. Wanting to find somebody, like, he drops part of his bullshit persona act. He's just like leaning against the bar. He's like, wanting to find someone you can have a good conversation with is pretty important. But that's for a long-term partner, not for just one night. Look, if you want me to find somebody that can help you get through the social circumstances of the night with as little faux pas as possible, I can do that.
That would be helpful.
Okay. All right. There are 7 boys out there in the pool right now. Do any of them interest you? They're all trained to not embarrass me.
I think she would probably zone in on the cutest and most talented of them.
Okay, like the number one, the skyscraper that the others are panoraming.
Exactly. Right. Panorama view. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah.
You're gonna need to make a persuasion check to convince him that you're
another persuasion check.
I mean, look, this guy was gonna field him out to the big fish for the night, but if that's you, let's let the dice say that.
All right.
Listen, your luck so far has been ridiculous. Can't you just bet that you'll roll really good a third time in the row?
Hey, you know what? That's all you can do.
Why don't you just show me another 1 becoming a 4 again, and then I'll scream out loud.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see what happens.
Casual box car.
No,
that's a box car. That's a 3 and a 2. Like a box car.
Here's how I imagine the scene going. The 2 of you are looking out at the 7 individuals. You're zooming in on one in particular, and then he like takes your head and gently guides you past that to one of the slightly less attractive ones. He says, "Yep, that right there, that's your number."
I'm imagining it's like she like sips her drink and kind of nervously looks at the tallest skyscraper, and then he like kind of guides my vision towards the other, and she's like, okay, like kind of resigning to the fact that
look, kid, we all have to settle for something.
Yes, but I only want the best.
And I appreciate that. I don't think you can afford it. And your brother certainly isn't paying me enough for that. Unless you'd like me to invoice him for an escort service.
She like thinks about like trying to see if she could fuck him over a little bit with this. Like, it's like, yeah, you're going to get a favor, but I'm going to invoice you this massive bill. No. I mean, it's tempting. Well, okay, so like, what are the repercussions of like this invoice coming across Angus's table?
Question 1 will be if Angus even notices while signing all the bills.
That's true. That's actually
Number 2 would be, what if he doesn't pay it?
Oh, that's a fair point. I mean, honestly, this guy has already gotten like a deal of like, I can get you anything through the spaceport.
Yeah.
So I feel like he'll make up for it in that.
You don't know that though.
That's true. That's metagaming. So I think she's like, oh, I think my brother can make it happen.
Okay. We'll get you the tallest skyscraper then. To the tallest skyscraper, he says as he clinks your old fashions together and tosses his back.
I'm just loving this because I'm fucking with Eric again and I love it.
All right. I think we have time for one more scene. We have not had that many multi-person scenes so far. It's been a real solo show tonight.
We had a lot of little plot like things that we had to kind of work through individually.
We've certainly been trying to screw each other over though, and I'm always
and I love
appreciative
it.
of that. Welcome to Succession season, everybody.
Yeah. But how can I get leverage on
Celeste? I would also ask Sam if there's anything he would like to offer.
I think I have a good idea because I think that
scares
this
me.
also plays well into the scene that I think that me and AP were talking about, which is what if Angus realizes that even though Celeste might not see it as such a big deal to not have the Mechwarrior license, there are people that Celeste cares very much about their opinion, whom, if they found out this news, might apply that pressure on Angus's behalf. People like the Duchess or Yohei Genji, because having a bodyguard and your main right-hand knight not have the Mechwarrior license is probably not very good for the Duchess. And, we know how Yohei Genji feels about following kind of the proper path in the way of doing things. You could maybe try to put pressure on Yusuf to have unlicensed Mechwarriors running missions with him. I'm thinking to me, the answer here is not to apply pressure directly on Celeste, but to be to all of the other people who are a little bit more mature than Celeste and realize that Celeste not doing this is more about youthful rebellion than it is about practical circumstance.
Yeah. I love the idea about Yohei Genji. I think that's probably the easiest in because I could have lunch with him and he could learn that you dropped out of the course.
So can I set a scene where
because maybe sorry, go ahead.
It's a side-by-side room, right? We are viewing from a wall. We see on the left side, it's Genji's office where Angus is very obviously waiting inside of it. And on the right side, it's his study where Genji is looking at a series of swords hanging on the wall with one of them missing. And he's looking at the missing sword area as Celeste comes in. So it's clear that Angus has called Yohei and just had a conversation with him, which we can flash back to later if we need to.
Yeah.
And that now Celeste has arrived at the same time, and Yohei is caught between two immovable rocks.
That's perfect.
Celeste is coming in expecting to have the subtle conversation about maybe you should declare for the Duchess, and is gonna run right into the conversation about why the hell do you think you're too good for a license?
I want to imagine that Yohei has fully moved into his Tron Legacy pajama lifestyle, fully stark white hair. But is it Jeff Bridges or whatever? Is that the name of the main character who's also the villain? So. Yeah, he's just wearing full white silk pajamas that have a sort of martial artsy cut to them. His hair's gone completely white as well. He looks old. I wouldn't say he looks healthy, but he probably looks healthier than someone who has brain damage and trouble walking should, right? His neuro helmet feedback damage from when he got blown up. He isn't struggling to remain standing, but I think that you can see his hand is twitching. Unconsciously, his right hand is continuously tightening and untightening as he just looks at the empty sword. The place where a scabbard should be on the wall, but isn't in a field of other swords in this sort of dojo. He waits for you to approach him and speak first.
Yeah, so she'll I'm assuming there's probably some sort of salute or something that the Pax Charlemagne does, so she'll do that. And then we'll say he's a count, right?
He is a baron.
I couldn't remember if he got
You didn't
promoted.
give him the bump to count. You
Right,
gave it to
right. I
the
gave it to
Hirokans.
right.
And to Sebastian Bassett.
Yeah. But that ended up working out. That was part of the trap to get to get Sebastian, and it worked great. Yeah, so she'll say, Baron Genji, I appreciate you taking a few minutes to speak with me today.
What do you have to talk about?
I was hoping we could maybe have tea and discuss a little bit more about Pax Charlemagne and where you see things going over the next couple of years. Your opinions on geopolitics have been prescient in the past, and I've been thinking more and more about my place on this planet over the next few years.
So he turns to look at his office, where Angus is not only in there, but can definitely hear this whole conversation. And he says, I'm afraid I cannot offer you tea in my office at this moment. I need to have a cleaner in there. There was an accident. I can have a tea service brought in here if you would like to sit and speak.
Hang on. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, my video card just crashed.
Oh no.
Yeah, we see like a
Your
That's fine.
camera.
Okay, everything's fine though. Okay.
She'll just say, if you don't have time for tea, it's no worry.
We can have tea in here in the study.
Excellent.
So he just like sits down on the tatami mat floor.
Yeah,
And,
she'll do the same.
Someone brings in like a tray with 2 cups and a hot teapot, and he pours for you, which you know is very significant for someone of higher status to pour for you. And takes a sip of his and says, before we move on, I have been informed that you are thinking of not completing your Mechwarrior license.
Yeah, I think this like totally takes the wind out of Celestial. Like, you know, like that moment where like you've practiced how a conversation is gonna go in your head a bunch of times, and then like you get there and like the person that you're talking to ends up just like totally like tangenting out, and you're like, so yeah, she's like, I didn't realize that was such a big deal. I just figure, what does it matter going through the formalities?
There are many individuals who spend their entire lives striving to achieve such a license. For the armed forces of the Federated Commonwealth that we serve, one needs a completed bachelor's degree in a relevant field before they are even considered for a Mechwarrior position, nonetheless one of a officer and commander of men. Simply getting in the machine requires a full technical knowledge and a knowledge of electronics, mechanical engineering. The license covers these subjects and practical. It is also tradition. It shows that one values the same things that society values. I know that you are a professional soldier and that you have fought on the battlefield, killed on the battlefield. But these licenses and other honors like them, they matter. They aren't just for you. They are for others. For some, it may be to show that you know your place in society. For others, it could be that you need to set an example, that you show where the high point is that others should strive for. The people who work for you, the commoners under your protection, they may want to see you achieve these honors so that they may vicariously feel that they have done some part in helping raise you up through their own efforts. I fear that you are thinking too much of yourself and not enough of others. It may be wise for you to sit and contemplate how, while the license may not benefit you as a person directly, it may benefit you as a baron and as a leader, and how it may reflect upon your family as well. I cannot say I have ever been able to ascertain what your mother desires, but certainly your father has spoken to me on several occasions of how proud he is of your status as a warrior and hopes that you will receive your license soon.
Yeah, I think Celeste like frowns a little bit when he says that, and like, you know, like can't help but you know, say something along the lines of well, we wouldn't want to let down the glorious Count McDougall, would we?
But would you want to let down the people who work for you? What about the people of Whittington? The license is not just a thing for you to attain. There are people who spend their whole lives, their weekends, every moment that they are not working, sleeping and eating, training in the hopes that one day they may be accepted into a volunteer Mechwarrior program in the hopes of just earning a chance to get the license and turn their whole life around. And you discarding it sends a signal to those people. I know it doesn't have value to you, Celeste, but I wonder again if it might have value to House Reinhold. But this is not why you have come here to speak to me. He takes another sip of tea, having said his old man piece.
Oh yeah, I think like Celeste like kind of pauses for kind of a long moment, just because you know, has a kind of, yeah, after being politely reamed out, it's hard for her to like switch over eloquently. So I think she just kind of goes, well, I'd hoped to ease into this a bit more, but I know that you're a person that values getting straight to the truth. So here it is. The Duchess needs allies, Count Genji and Baron Genji. And Pact Charlemagne has some of the most promising young mech warriors on the entire planet. Honorable and dedicated soldiers and guardsmen. It would go a long way for them to show support to the Duchess, and I think the Duchess can do much to support them in return. Especially, as I'm sure you know, the contingent in let's say the younger contingent in the Pact who are feeling a bit chafed at the restrictions and the small world that is Whittington without any support.
When you mention that particular group, he's putting his teacup down and his hand shakes and it kind of slips out. It doesn't spill or anything because it's mostly empty, but it's clear that there's been some reaction to that. And he says, is Duchess Lake asking me this, or is Celeste Reinhold asking me this?
Celeste Reinhold. I haven't spoken to the Duchess yet.
Then I would ask why Celeste Reinhold has not asked Yusuf Wheat, her employer, come out in response as a follower of the Duchess. Why pack Charlemagne first and not them?
Frankly, Yusuf is in a complicated social situation that I'm not sure I particularly understand. There's years of history behind his relationship with the Hirokins, his relationship with my father. To me, Pact Charlemagne is the better option because you are a man who values honor in your in your order, I guess, or in your respect. You prioritize honor and dedication in your order, and while there are honorable men serving Yusuf, and while there are dedicated men serving Yusuf, and while I believe that Yusuf himself is an honorable and dedicated man, I think what Pact Charlemagne represents is more important for the Duchess right now.
You are asking me to choose between the Duchess and your father, but I have known your father for much longer than I have known her. We have a good working relationship, and while I owe her my fealty, I have many agreements with your father, and I would not wish to upset him unduly. Can you assure me that your father would not act out upon hearing news that I had backed the Duchess?
Frankly, I can't. My father's been known to be a petty and vindictive man in the past, and he's been known to punish those he believes have acted against him. I can't give any assurance beyond the protection that you know that the Countess or that the Duchess can offer.
He looks at you in a way that lets you know that he's about to test you. And he says, so you ask me to do something which provides me with no value but exposes me to danger. Why should I do this?
I think it's the right thing to do. And I think you're a man who values doing the right thing for the right thing's sake. That's why I came here first.
That actually is the right answer. Is that because it's the right thing to do? Because he has noblesse oblige.
Yeah.
You don't have to roll.
Excellent.
Got him.
No, I mean that is like that's why.
But that
this
is also
the
the answer
goal.
he was looking for. He wanted to test you to make sure that you understood that honor is the reason he's doing this.
Mm-hmm.
He owes his loyalty to the Lake family, to Whittington, even as much as he's work colleagues with your father.
Yeah, no, that's and like, to be clear, and I think this is like an important distinction to say out loud, right? Because like the way that Celeste and her father are both very good at talking is kind of similar, right? Like, I'm trying to like make the way she speechifies be somewhat emblematic of the way Lachlan speechifies, in no small part because I'm not that good of an actor and it's easier for me to just speak in my own tone. But the important distinction, right, is like Lachlan would say all of these same words while not meaning a single thing and just being like, haha, you're an idiot. I know you, and I know that you care about this thing that I don't care about at all. And I'm going to make you act against your own best interest because I know that about you. Whereas Celeste, it's like, I'm coming to you because I know you're the good guy. Like, you're the guy who I think is like I can count on to do the right thing. And that's important to me. And I think that this is the right thing. Whereas for Lachlan, it's like right, wrong. You know, everyone's just acting in their own interest.
It is clear that he believes the conversation is coming to an end. But before you go, he says, before you go, I would like you to meditate for time. Think on what I have said about the license.
Of course.
Just like owing homage to House Lake as our duly appointed rulers. getting the license is the right thing to do.
I understand. I will do as you request, Count Genji, and I
Still
appreciate your
Still
advice.
a Baron.
God damn it, Baron. I've done that now like 6 times. Yeah, and she'll say, I appreciate your advice in this and for considering my proposal.
Of course. Please, you know the way out.
Yeah. She'll go to whatever, like, meditation. I'm sure there's some meditation room or whatever. She'll just go right there.
He goes to stand in front of the empty sword scabbard and calls out and says, after you've left the room, well, Angus? Because you've heard this whole conversation. You just heard that she's going to go for the license.
Yeah, I adjust my sport coat that I'm wearing as I come in.
Walk into the room. Yeah. He says, I'm sure you wouldn't understand doing the right thing. You're too much your father's son. But I have done what you have asked for. Not because you asked for it, but because it is the right thing to do.
He doesn't shake hands, right?
This guy bows, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the we're not Japanese, but I mean, just to be clear, he is Japanese, but he's the we're not Japanese, we're not samurai, but we are honorable knights guy.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. I'm trying to think of something clever to say around like I don't care what you call it, it's a win in my books. A win's a win.
He puts a hand out to the wall where the missing sword is, and he says, I think perhaps you will learn too late, Angus, that once you have dishonored yourself, once you have failed to take care of your own people, it will be too late to retract the mistake. That there are some events that you cannot clean up, no matter how much you throw at it, no matter how much resources, money, political power. The hands of time do not unwind. I have lost much in this life, and when I look at you, I see someone who doesn't understand what loss is yet.
Damn.
Do we want that to be the end of the episode right there?
Yeah,
okay, great.
That's awesome.
Perfect.
Wow.
Cool.
I think you get your pack Charlemagne XP.
Excellent. How much XP is that?
Well, let's do some calculations. Let's see. I would say that this advances Whittington to some extent to have a more unified government. So you're looking at 200 base, 200 for advancing Whittington. Well, you also advance the Duchess for another 300 directly. And it is only known to nobility so far, so 900 XP, which should be just enough to have you not level.
Yeah, I think I need 1,000 to level, right?
Yeah.
Damn.
I don't quite remember.
Still, 901 goals in one.
It's pretty good. Advancing the Duchess gave you quite a bit.
That's pretty dang good.
Are you a warrior or are you an expert?
I am a warrior, so I level up
You
slow.
need 2,000.
Okay, so I'm a ways away.
Yeah.
You'll need to get 2 or 3 more goals.
How much? I'm forgetting how that works exactly. So experts get level up faster.
Yes, experts require less XP to level up.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, you
I'm the
level
only
up.
expert. Yeah.
You level up
Yes.
at 1,500
Okay.
instead of 2,000.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going to say this out loud because I just want to call this out. Loving the trifecta of like interweaving machinations that we're getting here. Like, the fact that Angus has been like caught between the two of us, the two ladies, like trying to force his hand, and then something switching back. Or I'm loving what's going on here.
Excellent. It felt weird trying to juggle all of the scenes and still keep it relative and quick moving, but I think we did a good job.
We'll get better.
Yeah,
We
I
will
think
get
it's just
back-
like
I mean, again, we
we're
haven't
getting
played-
back into the
Audience,
thing.
we haven't
there's a
played
lot
for a
of
month and
rust.
a half. We haven't played for
Yeah.
6 or more weeks. It's been a while. We're
Yeah.
still figuring out. We don't even know who these characters are. This is the 3rd episode.
I know, right?
I don't know who I'm even talking to at this point. The audience will give me a break. These motherfuckers have been watching the show for like 3 years. They'll give me a break.
Oh man. No, but also really excited one because like this is the first experience game that we've had in the game. So like to kind of see how that's gonna progress things.
I've been dangling some experience in front of other people, but they're like, no, I want the bigger goal. I want the more.
Yeah.
Eric's pretty close to locking in this party, though. He just needs to find a DJ.
That's true. I mean, I went for the bigger goal because I was like, I started mapping it out, and I think there's a way that I can potentially get like 3 goals in one, or 2 goals in one.
Ooh,
So-
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you can somehow tie in the party, or sorry, your other goal to getting the intercontinental people in together, I guess you could somehow make both of them succeed at once.
Yeah. So like accumulating the business asset and then protect the cons assets, or like work bolstering that in some way. I have some ideas.
Sometimes you make an NPC, by the way, and you have no idea how they're going to be received, right? Like, I didn't know Duke Dick was going to be demanded. I don't know how P Sensei is going to be received. I assume that
man.
people will loathe him, but some people like Sebastian Bassett.
Oh man. I mean, he was like the love-hate villain, and for the longest time, there was like so much like, oh no, he's not that bad of a guy. I just remember seeing those comments like, no, he's the worst. He's the absolute worst. But yes, get in the comments and let us know, or get on the Discord.
Get in the comment. Are we good for next week? I know that there's going to be a period of time where we lose Eric, so not next week, probably not for the rest of the month.
No, just these 2 weeks for sure.
Okay, so let me get my calendar open. That means
The 11th and the 18th, I'm 100% out.
Okay, 11th and 18th. Then you are back on the 25th.
Correct.
Things are gonna get dicey for me in July because I take the bar exam at the end of the month, but I might have to play it a little bit by ear. So
We want an episode every month and a half. It's fine. We'll live with it. Yeah.
I most likely we can get in at least a couple games, but I just figure I warn you because
No,
that
totally.
is, I am taking the most important test I'll ever take for the rest of my life at the end of next month. So
Yeah, we want you to do that too.
Yeah. We have faith you're gonna nail it, but
I also have faith that it'll go well, but it's like one of those things where you just gotta kind of put in the work no matter what. So
Yes,
Exactly.
I remember taking my professional engineering exam. It was a fucking nightmare. I got locked out of my car halfway through.
Oh, that's
Oh.
bad.
Yeah, so when everybody else is leaving to go home, I have a tow truck coming in to come get into my car again.
wow.
So the second half of the test was really stressful for me.
Oh
And
my
I took
God,
it back
that's a
when
nightmare.
electrical engineers had to still take the full test, unlike now.
Yeah.
Yikes.
All right, well, any closing thoughts before we wrap this one up? Because we've run way later than I'd like, but
Glad to be back in the cockpit.
Yeah.
Same.
friends, check out Blades of Honor when it's available. Of course, if you're watching this, it is available to you. So we'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens here. We'll see if we can arrange crossovers. Can we get Rad on this show? Probably not again. That was really hard. But can we get Neil, Buzzard, or James over here? That'll be a lot easier.
Yeah.
Have a
That'd be
good time
fun.
zone.